Welcome to our first conference day within this world of electrification and automation. My name is Michaela Mönikes and I am happy to be your moderator for this virtual conference. Some of them might already know me from guided tours on the Siemens booth, be it virtual or live. And you might know me from former online webinar moderations and surely from last year's world of energy automation. And today, I will guide you through this first conference day of the world of electrification and automation, where we will present a lot of interesting content. I hope that you already prepared your personal agenda within your world of electrification and automation global summit profile and selected your desired topics from our offering. Between the conference lectures, you are kindly invited to visit the exhibition area where you find curated content from our specialists for you. You find information on energy automation solutions, about medium and low voltage systems, and for support and services. And within the exhibition area, you will be welcomed by one of our expert room receptionists and have there the chance to meet our experts in one-to-one meetings. But let us now start here on stage with our very first conference presentation. We are very proud that Stefan May, our Smart Grid Infrastructure CEO for Electrification and Automation, is with us today. And please feel free to post your questions at any time during the presentation so we can answer them live at the end of the presentation in the dedicated Q&A session. I will be your voice. I will read your questions aloud and address them to the expert, in this case to our dear colleague, Mr. Stefan May. Please make intensive use of this possibility to directly address the experts. We are here for you. And one question we receive rather often, yes, we will record the session. Mr. May, as I know you would like to focus on today's challenges for power grids, and I assume that the auditorium is curious to learn about these innovative technologies in electrification and automation for our future. Mr. May, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you very much, and a very, very warm welcome also from my side. Yeah, today, let me start with something which is really certain in this world. VUCA. I believe most of you have heard about VUCA. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. This acronym was used, according to my research, the first time in 1987 in management theories. It was used prior to that in non-civil educations. Now, when we look at this in our world today, I believe VUCA has never been more real than it has been right now. Sustainability, global warming. When we look at about weather impacts, seasons, dry seasons on one hand, severe rains, flooding on the other hand, record temperatures in many areas. Towards the end of 2019, we had COVID. It started and it turned our life upside down. Now, when we look into 21 and also until today, the world deals with the Omicron variant. And in most countries, we have already loosening of restrictions. Most people have been vaccinated or even boosted. But all this affected our lives and it affected our economies. After COVID, we see an increase and pickup of business in many areas. And suddenly we face situations, shortage of materials, shortage of logistics. Our supply chains don't work anymore. But also costs are going up significantly. Inflation rates go up in countries. In some countries, we talk about hyperinflation. All this affects also our lives, and it affects economies. Now we have a war which has the potential to escalate further, and a war which costs innocent lives. And my prayers and my hope is that this is ending better right now than in 5 minutes. Let's really all hope and pray that this is going to happen very, very soon. This also affects our life and affects our economies. So has VUCA ever been more real? Not in my life. But we also have challenges. Challenges to deal with all these VUCA situations. And one topic is about electrical grids. Sustainability in electrical grids. Grids must still be reliable. Energy supplies must be safe. But they also must be economical. We cannot just apply something and then nobody can pay for it. But this is something where we, the entire team, is very keen and very excited to provide answers, but also to start a dialogue with you. And that's what we heard in the introduction. Please actively also present your questions. We are all having our informations, and we have to find solutions jointly together. Siemens is absolutely committed to play a major role in this. And we have good technologies. But alone, we also will not be able to answer all questions, but a lot of them. So let's start with this very exciting day. Now, let me start with something. What is happening in our grids? Whether it's 2.8% a CAGR, or it's 2.5 or 2.85 or whatsoever, it's irrelevant. But what is relevant, that the demand of electrical energy is increasing. And that's globally. We have now, since years, a very sustainable trend. And yesterday was the inauguration of a large Tesla plant in Germany. Electrical vehicles, electrical infrastructure, not only private one, but also public transport. And even in trucks, we are getting more electrical. So there is a significant demand and growth that we can accommodate this. Not only that we provide the energy, but that we have it at the right time, at the right position, and the right location. Then, electrical energy generation. May it be wind, may it be PV, or others, like biomass. What we have been used in grid structures for years, not years, for decades. The very central generation, the transformer, transmission, another transformer, go distribution, and end up at the consumer. This is changing. It has started to change, but it will speed up. And we see now the energy mix. We have days already where we generate more electrical energy generated by renewables than we can consume. But we have other days where we basically don't generate anything. So how to balance this? Then we have grids which have a certain age. So in a grid which is quite homogeneously utilized, it doesn't have a lot of impact on the grid. I compare as always with my knees. You know, I'm also aged. I have an aged infrastructure in my bones. When I go for a walk, I don't feel my knees. When I go running, it starts hurting. And that's what's happening to the grids. We will have a much higher dynamic in the grids. We have to deal with different peaks in the grid. But we have also completely different loads which are going to it. I'm not talking about short circuits. We need a higher flexibility in our grid. We have to deal with these peaks. We have to manage the available energy versus the consumption. Demand, response. Totally different than we have done it in the past. Digitalization ultimately plays a major role in it. Most of the distribution networks, either on the medium voltage side or on the low voltage side, is not intelligent. So we don't have data, but we need data. We need to understand the health status of the grid, the health status of the components of the grid. But we also need data that we can manage energy distribution efficiently, reliable, safe, and economical. Now, looking into this, we have this infinity about electrification, automation, digitalization, and sustainability. Years ago, we were talking in pillars, in silos. When we talk about electrical grids today, we talk about all of it. We cannot decouple it. It's connected to each other. And there's one thing which is also playing a major role and will play an even more important role. It's cybersecurity. Our digitalization increase, of course, makes the infrastructure more vulnerable. So we need to protect this as well. And Siemens has a clear commitment in this area. And it's one of our core competencies, not only within Siemens AG, but we share this also with our colleagues from the Healthineers. So this is an important thing to understand. Just digitizing it and somebody hacks in and switches off or ask for a ransom to keep the electrical energy supplies on is not what we want to face. Now, sustainability, there is not the one-fits-all solution. We have to understand the needs of individual players in the grid. And I say players, I'm not saying only consumers. We have prosumers, and this will increase. So energy trading needs to be much more flexible. So electrification, this demand of what we need to cope with, we have in some areas still spare capacity. But we have other areas which are already today at the limit. And we cannot dig all streets open, city centers open to put bigger cables in, or build new substation with bigger transformers, or increase switchgears for higher currents. And the automation of the grid need to mature to a different level, to a next level. In order to have an efficient automation in the grid, we also need to understand the health status of the grid. So talking about all this means always we talk about all the components. We are not talking about one only. And looking into different applications, it's electricity, but it's not only electricity. The so-called sector coupling, heating, cooling, this will come much closer together. We have in this applications, we have the utility area, may it be on the transmission or distribution level. The core business is electrification. We have others where electricity is just a necessity in order to do their business. Now we have in this network, we will get more active components, like battery storages, for example, or other storage media which will come up. So the network will not be just the conventional thing about switchgears, transformers, down to the consumers. We may have smaller industries which produce more energy than they use. So energy trading will come to a completely different level. But we also have regulated and deregulated market. So technical solutions which are available and which are proven in one country may not be feasible in another country. We also have business cases, when they were evaluated maybe 2 years ago, we said, well, it doesn't make any sense for us to install a rooftop PV. We would not have a decent return. First of all, now, the factors in the equation have changed significantly, but also sustainability, costs which are related to it. If you see the oil and gas industry, for example, they need to work on their portfolio. They need to work on their CO2 footprint. Simply for capital allocations, investors are not putting money in so-called dirty companies anymore. So that is, on one thing, changing their portfolio. If you see there, a lot of them have even changed their names from the just known oil and gas name towards an energy company. They're investing in offshore wind farms. They're investing in PV. They're investing in hydrogen plants. Selling hydrogen on one end, but also replacing gray hydrogen by green hydrogen. Now, if you look into hydrolyzers, efficiency today is around 67, 68%. So to generate conventional electrical energy, produce hydrogen, doesn't make any sense. But green energy produced and produce hydrogen makes a lot of sense. If you would convert or compare fuel at the petrol station to fill it into our vehicles, compared to hydrogen to get it into our vehicles, okay, the prices have gone up for the fossils, but it would still be around factor 4, where hydrogen is more expensive. And the industries have ideas maybe to come to 2.5. So there's still a way to go. Still a lot of solutions we have to jointly develop. And that's why I said in my introduction, we have a lot of answers and we can contribute a lot. But we have to work with you to find the best possible solution on the energy transformation. And hydrogen is also not only used for changing, like in the oil and gas industry, in the processes, but also in the steel industry, in the paper, pulp and paper. Hydrogen is applied in the process to make the processes and therefore the products produced with a lesser and reduced CO2 footprint. Now in Europe we have taxonomy. We get penalized if you are not part of this. So sustainability plays a much larger role than it has ever played in the past. Technology-wise, but also monetary. Monetary, that companies are really now in the position to have a concrete way. Greenwashing, so-called greenwashing, will not do the trick anymore. And it is Siemens' absolute commitment to drive sustainability, to drive the transformation, to deliver solutions, and to make also in the future electrical energy affordable, reliable, and safe in all its applications. And I'm really, really excited, not only me, the entire team is really excited to work jointly with you and find those solutions where they are not available. What can you expect from us? A clear focus on applications. As I said already, there is not the one-fits-all solution. We have to understand the domain in the application. We need to have not generic questions, but precise answers to any question. And of course, it's the industry's responsibility to find the solution, to deliver this solution. And of course, generating value. Generating value for lots of stakeholders. And one very important stakeholder is our planet, is our environment. It's part of the equation. We see, as I mentioned, impacts today, very severe impacts. We cannot just blindly walk this path, otherwise we will not be able to live on this planet anymore. But also economical answers to create value for this. We still need jobs. We still need incomes. And we need sustainability also in our lives. This is a clear commitment of Siemens, of the entire team. And ultimately this goes with innovation. So we also have a clear commitment to be trendsetter in this, to find the right solutions with the best possible impact in sustainability, but also economical wise and safe, of course. So IoTization is a major part where we have to deal with for the transformation. And again, we cannot just put everything everywhere more hardware. First of all, we don't have the materials. Secondly, we don't have the labor. And we cannot just put construction sites everywhere. So we need to increase the efficiency of the utilization of grids. And therefore, IoTization is essential. And that goes, again, towards sustainability. We need to ensure that we reduce, stringently reduce, the CO2 footprint of our entire energy chain and efficient electrical grids with sector coupling and with integration of more active parts and managing demand response and storage in between. These are key elements to drive sustainability. So as Siemens, we have a very strong global footprint. We are close to you everywhere. But we have a core team, of course, that we can share all the know-how we have and that we find solutions around the globe as one global team. So please approach us in your country, in your region, in your industry. We need solution for this. And it's our commitment to deliver such solutions. So a smart portfolio goes along with that. Smart portfolio, not only that is IoTized and we get information out of it, but we also make use of data. It goes to artificial intelligence. Smart portfolio is also that is reliable, economical, so that we go from regular maintenances, for example, to predictive maintenance, that the entire OPEX is going to be reduced. But also in this entire portfolio, we're looking to material usage. So in our entire supply chain, we're looking to the most reduced possible CO2 footprint. That goes from the use of material, but also the transport. Clear commitment also here on our side. We are driving this already today, traceable, that we are able to prove the reduction of our portfolio in regards of CO2 footprint. And also that this is still reliable and safe. So I mentioned already earlier, cybersecurity plays a major role. So I'm excited, and I can assure you the entire team, Siemens team participating to is equally excited, and we are very, very open to answer your questions. Thank you very much. And let's open it for questions, please.
Thank you, Stefan May. That has been an interesting presentation. I once again learned something, at least taking care of my knees, and a lot of the auditorium also mentioned that's what was a brilliant comparison, because that's what people understand. And we have some questions from the auditorium. And I start with one that raised my attention because it's talking about SF6 used in medium voltage switchgear as the most potent greenhouse gas, and I think we might want to get rid of it. So the question here was, what are our answer or your answers, and what's the long-term strategy?
Well, that's first of all, thank you to whoever asked this question. It's a very good question. And yes, SF6 is a very potent greenhouse gas. On one hand, it is the most proven and reliable technology. It has so many advantages proven over decades. Now it comes to application and possible solutions. So first thing, very clear statement. Siemens in its medium voltage applications is committed for our blue portfolio, and blue portfolio means clean air solutions, no F gases, not only that it is not SF6 used, but no other fluor gases are in our solutions. So we have already a wide range of portfolio. It goes up to 24 kilovolts. We have in some countries already several thousand panels installed, and I am absolutely close to it because it's a very important part on our commitment also towards sustainability. So I'm following up very close with the R&D team. We have at least substantiated proof points that we can cover the entire medium voltage level with clean air solutions. So the R&D team is, I would say, extremely busy, extremely committed, and with the substantiated proof point, also clear that we will be able to replace our entire portfolio, SF6 portfolio, with F-gas-free solutions, yet keeping all the features which are proven from the SF6 portfolio, so independent from environment situations, still very compact, and it's of course clear that we want to keep the dimensions which are available today from SF6. So far, we are good on track, and I'm also very keen to step by step then introduce this growing portfolio, F-gas free. That's our answer, and maybe 2-3 sentences. It is like everything in this world, it is not homogeneous. So we have markets which are pushing very hard. We have other markets, they're still a little bit reluctant. We have customers, they say, I buy SF6 as long as I can buy SF6. So it's not an easy game, but here our clear commitment is F-gas free solutions.
Great to learn that. That was interesting. And I know that we have a presentation around our Blue GIS solutions also within the conference part of the world of electrification and automation. So we'll hear something, I think it's tomorrow, in one of the morning sessions, if I remember that correctly. And I think we have time for one last question, and that's about sustainability. So the question is, how can Siemens support me with increasing requirements on sustainability, and which concrete actions do you, so that's us as Siemens, take with regards to sustainability?
Well, thank you very much for the question. And I mentioned the word sustainability a few times also in my introduction. Yes, let me start with Siemens. Siemens has a clear commitment towards sustainability. So that goes about zero landfill until 2030. It goes into our portfolio CO2 neutral by 2030. So as Siemens, we have a program, it's called Degree, and Degree has a focus. Yeah? And I mentioned also in my introduction that capital allocation plays a very major role. So also Siemens is in the position to work in this way. So we are absolutely in being attractive also for investors on one hand, but also helping our customers. And now I come to the second part. Also helping our customers to be on the same path, that they are an attractive company where people feel confident and where funds are allocated to be a sustainable company. So in my circle, which I said and described, that applications are not homogeneous. And customer problems are not homogeneous. So we have ones which are very energy intensive. We have customers which are less energy intensive, but have the opportunity to produce electrical energy. Maybe if you go into larger warehouses, if you large logistic centers, they don't need much of electrical energy, but they have large roofs. Yeah. If you go in just larger supermarkets of all the brands where we go shopping, they also don't have a significant energy demand, but they have also larger roofs. So we are working jointly with them, of course, on their conventional energy consumption, but also how can we, for example, utilize generated energy on their parking areas for charging electric vehicles. Yeah, we are working with customers on integration of batteries, so that if they don't use or they produce electrical energy on the weekends and don't use it, that they can store it and use it, then not needing any fossil electrical energy generated. So it starts, however, always data. So intelligence is important. The right interpretation of it is important to trigger the right measures and also help customers to develop new business models out of it. So there is a clear commitment from our portfolio, what we do as Siemens by ourselves, yeah, really with complete traceability of the CO2 footprint of every switchgear, what we are delivering. That's currently ongoing, to have this complete transparency, then to our customers and let them participate from our knowledge, but also jointly in the world of co-creation, sit together, understand also their business needs, not only for today, but also for tomorrow, and then develop, based on IoTization, on intelligence, the most cost-efficient yet sustainable solutions.
Yeah, that sounds definitely interesting. We will go the journey together with you. We have more questions in the row. Thanks for all these questions there, because we need to keep our schedule. So we need to close the question and answer round right now. But be assured, we will answer your questions via mail later on. And if questions come to your mind later, please contact us. We will get back to you soon. And the access to the recording is automatically available to all participants directly after this session. So I'm now looking forward to seeing you in one of the next sessions. Thanks a lot, Mr. Stefan May, for this definitely interesting presentation. Take care of your knees. Maybe you want to take a walk, a 15 minutes walk in the exhibition area. How unfortunately it's virtual, but our experts are waiting there for you. And in about 15 minutes, I think now it's about 12 minutes, our next conference speaker will be my colleague Stefan Fleming, and he will be with us with the behind the scenes. We will take a look into Uwe Sandersdorf, where the process bus technology is successfully implemented. So I hope to see you there. Thank you, Mr. May. Thank you, dear auditorium, and goodbye for the next minutes.